What is good, y'all? Thank you for joining us here on the SHR Media Network for the Mission Ready Men briefing. Today is Tuesday, April 29th in the year of our Lord 2025. And we got a little late start today. I was doing a conference call, the National Awakening conference call with Stand America. That's an organization that my dad runs, and I'll talk about that a little later on. But yeah, so we're here getting a bit of a late start, but we're here, so let's do this. We have hit the 100-day mark, and I don't know about you, but I think these past 100 days have gone as well as could possibly be expected or better. And I mean, we have criminal illegal aliens getting deported. Border crossings are at an all-time low. Activist judges are being arrested. And it's just been winning for the past 100 days. So we got all that and more coming up if we have time. But thank you for joining us here for the briefing on the SHR Media Network. And you can follow us on all the socials at Mission Ready Men on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And for our merch, head over to missionreadymen.com and click on Shop 7 Armors and check out all of our great designs there. All right, I think that concludes the business, so let's get after it. As I said, we have hit the 100-day mark, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. We've been talking about all the wins throughout these past 100 days, and the 100 days thing seems a bit arbitrary, and not a whole lot often gets done. It started with FDR, though, when he took office in 1933, and he did get a lot done, and that was when the 100-day thing started, and he got a lot done and was considered probably up until President Trump in the second go-around as the most effective president at that time. But he has had a number of wins, and some of these things need to be codified into law for sure, because we know what happens with executive orders. But I think that we're on the right track with that. He's closed the border. The border is essentially shut down. He signed the Laken Riley Act into law. He declared the MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and the cartels, he declared them all criminal terrorist organizations. And so that gives us a lot of leeway in terms of how we treat them. And he's deported almost 140,000 illegal aliens and signed an agreement with President Bukele of El Salvador to send criminal illegal aliens to his maximum security terrorist detention center. That is a huge win. He's banned gender-confused individuals from competing in women's sports, which the fact that it even needed to be an executive order is beyond me. He's recognized. He signed a memorandum recognizing only two genders, male and female. Again, something that why it needed even to reach the level of a presidential memorandum is mystifying. How did it even get to this point? It's amazing. He signed an executive order talking about, he signed an executive order protecting Second Amendment rights, and he closed down Biden's Office of Gun Safety, which Kamala Harris was the head of, and they really Even though the office existed, they really didn't do much. Thank God. But I mean, he's the first 100 days of his presidency have been a massive, massive win, and I'm looking forward to even more. I'm looking forward to the next 100 days. I'm looking forward to the next 4 years, frankly, because if this keeps up, the next 4 years are going to be huge, and and I'm here for it. I am here for it. All right. I do want to get into a couple of other things. We have even though President Trump in his first term eliminated Al Qaeda and got rid of a lot of the terrorist threat in this country, it's still a growing problem, especially in the UK, but also here. And it's not something that the American Pravda likes to publicize because I think they want it to happen. I think they want an Islamic takeover. Well, they want it, but there's that famous line from a movie: "You're going to get what you want. Let's just see if you want what you're going to get." I think that was G.I. Jane, maybe. So I think they want a Muslim takeover. But if it happens, if we let it happen, they're going to realize that they really didn't want it. But Washington State signed a bill into law. The governor of Washington signed a bill into law recognizing 2 Islamic holidays as state holidays. Now, we just celebrated Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday. Washington State does not recognize Easter as a state holiday, but they now recognize 2 Islamic holidays on the state calendar. Islam is a death cult that wants to kill us. And if they don't kill us, they want to enslave us. And you're going to recognize their holidays, but won't recognize Resurrection Sunday, the holiday that basically defines the faith upon which this country was founded. What is wrong with you? Now, people will say, but it's freedom of religion. People are free to practice their religion however they see fit. Yes, that is true. But when the founders put that in the Constitution, they weren't thinking about Islam. They meant freedom to practice Christianity, free from the Church of England, free from the rule of the Church of England, free from the Vatican. They weren't thinking about Islam or any of these other false religions. The United States Navy was created to fight this death cult. It was created because Islamic terrorists, and I'm going to call them terrorists even back then, were pirating and capturing and enslaving United States citizens. Back then. And now we're recognizing their holidays. they they would not have recognized Islam as a religion, let alone recognizing any of their holidays. If you said you were a Muslim back then, they would have regarded you as an enemy of the state. And it's not just Washington State, even though maybe a case could be made about Washington, D.C. too. But surprisingly, Islam is trying to take over Texas. And we talked about the Epic City in one of our previous shows, a 402-acre site that covers a couple of different counties in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This Epic City in Dallas, or outside of Dallas, includes 1,000 houses, a mosque, a primary school, and a community college and sports facilities. And you might say, well, 402 acres is really not that big. It's big enough. It's big enough. And I want you to take a look at this. BZ brought this to my attention. You know what? I haven't even. All right. If you want to talk to us in chat, the chat is now open. I neglected to start that when I started the show. As I said, I was doing something else and just didn't get to it. But it's open. So if you want to chat, if you want to comment, please feel free. YouTube is the best place to do that. Some of the other places, you can leave a chat, but I probably won't see it. So YouTube, like I said, is the best place. But BZ brought this to my attention, and this is scary. This is not something that you would expect to see in Texas, but yet here we are. This is a representation of all of the Islamic centers in and around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is nuts. Look at this. All of these mosques and Islamic centers. I don't understand why. Well, I mean, obviously people have taken the freedom of religion thing to a whole other level. But I am going to make some people mad and say that I don't think this should be allowed. Period. I really don't. Because what you don't realize is that people like to say, well, all billions of Muslims practice their religion peacefully. Yeah, but they're practicing their religion against what most of their imams and religious leaders preach. And when it comes down to it, if Islam is mobilized against us, whose side do you think they're going to come down on? I doubt very seriously it will be ours. Because remember, Islam's goal is to implement a worldwide caliphate, a worldwide empire. Right now in the UK, Muhammad is the most popular baby name, and it's not even close. And we have our birth rates declining, while Muslims' birth rates are either at the same level or going up. They're gonna outbreed us if we allow this nonsense to continue. Their goal is to implement a worldwide caliphate, repopulate the world as Muslims, and run the world. And we got this nonsense, Islamic centers and mosques and Muslim cities. We're just letting them do it under the guise of freedom of religion, under the guise of compassion. It's cultural suicide. It is absolutely cultural suicide if we continue to allow this to happen. And we can see exactly how it's going to play out. All you have to do is look at what's going on in Europe. All you have to do is look at what's going on in the UK. Why, hello. Thank you for joining us here today, my beautiful wife. But yeah, we gotta get a handle on this, because what they're doing in Europe, they are trying to do here, and we just seem to be letting them do it, and I don't get it. All right, we talked about the criminal judge in New Mexico who was harboring an illegal alien, and apparently he had been entertaining this illegal alien and his friends. There's pictures of him drinking a Dos Equis, flashing the deuces, and it's just total cringe. He's been arrested, and the next day, the day after he was arrested, Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested. She was arrested because she facilitated. Oh man, I didn't even take this down. My bad. My bad. Anyway, Hannah Dugan has been arrested, and she was arrested because she facilitated the escape of an illegal alien that ICE was trying to arrest outside of her courtroom. They were outside her courtroom. She went and confronted them and told them to go see the chief judge. While they were going to see the chief judge, she took that criminal defendant, into her chambers and ushered him out a back door from her chambers. Unbelievable. Now, a lot of judicial analysts are saying that she really didn't commit any crime because she can direct anyone in her courtroom to leave however she sees fit. And there's been some reporting that the ICE agents only had like an administrative notice or something like that to detain him, and it wasn't an actual criminal arrest warrant. what whatever the case may be, this guy was an illegal alien who was in a pretrial hearing because he was accused of, well, the incident started with him playing music too loudly at his home, and a fight broke out between him and another individual. And the complaint says that this guy punched the other person over 30 times. Now, if you're punching someone 30 times and it's not like a back and forth, like you're not taking the same amount of punches that you're giving, if you're punching somebody that many times, you're trying to kill them. You are trying to kill them, because if you can punch somebody 30 times without them fighting back, they're on the ground and you are just wailing away. And then a woman who was trying to break up the fight, the beatdown, he hit her too. He's an illegal alien, obviously violent, probably involved with other crimes that we aren't privy to yet. And she facilitated his escape from ICE agents. Now, I think if you or I had done that, that would be considered a crime. But for some reason, they don't think that this judge committed a crime by letting him go, in defiance of the ICE agents who were right there. Now, this judge may not face any real consequences. It's possible. I mean, this is Milwaukee. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a helicopter flying very low outside the studio right now. That's interesting. But yeah, she may not face any real consequences. But this tells you pretty much all you need to know about our activist judiciary. And after her arrest, another judge, I can't remember if it was from the same county or a neighboring county, reached out to her, and now they're trying to start some activist group to actively protect criminal illegal aliens in their courtrooms, to basically defy ICE. That should tell you everything you need to know about our activist judiciary. It is something needs to be done, and I'm glad that these people are getting. I'm glad that these people are getting locked up. I'm glad that these people are facing consequences. Now, whether or not they actually face any real consequences other than the embarrassment of being walked out of their courtroom in handcuffs, which I think that's outstanding anyway, but it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen if they will, and I really hope that they do, because this judicial activism just can't continue. We cannot allow this to continue. All right, we got a lot more to get to. It is 25 past the hour. And yeah, there's a lot I want to get to, because a lot goes on between our Thursday and Tuesday shows, a lot. But yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and Yeah, because this next one is going to take me a while. So let's go ahead and get a word in from our sponsor. And our sponsor for today's show is Patriot Mobile. And now more than ever, it is important that we support companies that and organizations that share our values, that value the things that we value, that support the things that we support. And as much as glad as we are that President Trump is in office, and as glad as we are that we are electing good conservatives in some of these districts, votes are not going to cut it in the long run. We need to engage in and grow the parallel economy, and Patriot Mobile is part of that parallel economy. Not only do they share our beliefs and our values, but they do something about it. They put their money where their mouth is. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier, and they donate a portion of every dollar that they collect to organizations that fight for causes that you and I care about. They are on the front lines of fighting human trafficking, of fighting baby murder, you name it. They're fighting having all these X-rated material in schools. They are fighting it on the front lines every day. So switch to Patriot Mobile now and get a free month of service with the offer code Jackson. A free month of service with the offer code Jackson. Defend freedom with every call and text you make. So go to patriotmobile.com, use the promo code Jackson, or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Jackson today. All right, y'all. I am Big E. You're watching or listening to the Mission Ready Men briefing on the SHR Media Network, where you can catch my buddy Sackhead Sean on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. The Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And BZ with the Berserk Bobcat Saloon every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. And he will be on tonight. He will be on tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific. So please do us a favor and follow those guys. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to their shows, and share all of their great content, and pray for us that we have a huge breakthrough. We are at last I looked, we were 50 away from 500. So we're growing, but we need you guys to help us out. Share the channel, encourage all your friends to like and subscribe, because once we reach that 500 milestone, some of the algorithms loosen up and they start to, or at least in theory, they start to push us out to more people. So please like, subscribe, share, do all the things that will help us grow. And as I said, pray for us that we have that breakthrough. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. We talk a lot on this channel about Christianity and being a Christian man and things like that. And there's this concept that I came across that I wanted to talk about called muscular Christianity. And it's a concept that started back in the 19th century, when there was when the disparity between men and women in the church was near or had reached its peak. Christianity has, for a long time, largely been seen as a feminine pursuit. for some reason. I think this is a misguided idea based on a fundamental misunderstanding of Jesus and Christianity. The loving, merciful, nurturing, gentle nature that's taught by Christians and Christianity gives short shrift to the other side of Jesus, the lion of Judah, as opposed to the lamb, which is characterized by traits of boldness, justice, power, and self-control. I mean, let's not forget, Jesus went into the temple with a whip and turned over tables and chased the money changers out. He did that twice. And the muscular Christianity movement, it's a concept that never really materialized, from what I can tell, into an organized movement. But those who subscribe to it believe that a follower of Jesus couldn't really afford to be weak, to mistreat his body. They believe that physical health and vitality was necessary to live out and spread the gospel. And I think that's true. And I think that if you've been listening to or watching me for the past few months, I never really put the name muscular Christianity to it, but that's what I think. That's what the men in my church believe. And I actually kind of like the term muscular Christianity. When I talk about this, I'm not talking about bodybuilding. I'm not talking about vanity or looking good in a t-shirt or without your shirt on or anything like that. It's about excuse me, having the strength and the stamina to do what you need to do to spread the word of God. And this is, you can see this in a lot of Paul's teaching. He talks about training. He talks about finishing the race to win, and the race that we're trying to win is not one for an earthly crown, but for the glory of God. And you can also see that in his letter to Timothy, where he says, "For bodily exercise profits a little, but godliness is profitable for all things, having promise of the life that now is and of that which is to come." That's 1 Timothy 4:8. Physical training, being strong, and one of the things that before I get into that, one of the things that brought this about, originally back in the 19th century. Back then, or prior to that, men really had to prove themselves in a physical way. Men had to be able to work fields. Men had to be able to defend themselves. Men and there was this process that boys went through to prove themselves to be a man. And then as time went on and the Industrial Revolution came and men spent less time in those physical activities and going to work and working in a factory, and a lot of white collar jobs emerged during that time, that kind of went away. And so this was in a response to that. Physical training, as I said, is not in this context, is not about vanity. It's not about looking good. It's about having the strength and the ability and the stamina to serve others. And physical strength leads to moral strength. At least it should. Now, obviously, we know that there are men who use their physical strength to bully. That's not what we're talking about here. Especially when it comes to Christians, physical strength leads to moral strength and good character. Think about this. When you go to a gym, 9 times out of 10, the guys that you see in a gym, they're the friendliest, most helpful. They'll spot you at the gym. They'll give you tips, and you can approach them. And yes, every now and then you run across the jackwagon who wants nothing to do with anything, and he's probably juiced out of his mind on steroids and stuff like that. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to find those guys are nice and helpful and things of that nature. So physical strength, as I said, leads to moral strength and character. And for young men, for boys, physical activity like sports and exercise, it connects them with their masculinity. And we know that in this day and age, we need our young boys to be connected to their masculinity more than ever, because the left is doing everything they possibly can to separate them from their masculinity and to feminize them. Not just separate them from masculinity, but to feminize them, to outright feminize them, to get them involved in homosexuality and to get them involved in gender confusion. Tell them that they're women trapped in a boy's body, that God made a mistake somehow. And we all know that God doesn't make mistakes. And so I want to just put that out there, and we'll be exploring this concept of muscular Christianity a little bit deeper as we go forward. Because, like I said, it's a concept that we've talked about before, but never really put a name to it. And I think that muscular Christianity is something that we need to bring back. I think that will do us. I think that will do this country a great service. All right, y'all. Sermon's over, but yeah, that's something we need to think about. Absolutely something we need to think about. Now, getting back to not specifically 100 days, but getting back to some of the things that President Trump is accomplishing. We just recently had a couple of really big busts. And one of them is called, was under an operation called Operation Tidal Wave. And Operation Tidal Wave was a partnership between the authorities in Florida and federal agencies like ICE. And I think the DEA was involved, U.S. Marshals. And they arrested over 800 illegal aliens in Florida, including members of the terrorist group, not just the gang, but the terrorist group MS-13 and other crews, as well as, get this, a Russian national on the run from Interpol. Think maybe he could have been a spy. Maybe. It's possible. But yeah, let's take a look at this, because this is outstanding. And I mean, in the grand scheme, 800 is really not a whole lot, but in one state, in one operation, I think that's fantastic. "800 illegal immigrants, including a convicted killer and a terrorist, arrested in a massive Florida ICE raid." This is outstanding. Operation Tidal Wave was a joint effort between the feds and local police in Florida. And they only needed 4 days. This one took 4 days to lock up some of the country's most wanted. I hate that they use migrants. They're illegal aliens. And this was apparently a first of its kind partnership between state and federal agencies. ICE Miami and Florida law enforcement, as I said, arrested nearly 800 illegal aliens this week. This was a massive multi-agency immigration enforcement crackdown. And this is what we voted for. This is what we voted for. And you see leftists crying online, "Is this what you voted for?" Yes. Yes. This is exactly what I voted for. And I will not apologize for it. Lock them up, kick them out. Period. This is not a difficult concept. This is not a difficult concept. And the only reason why these people would want to keep illegal aliens in this country, I mean, they're flying to other countries. They're flying to El Salvador to try and rescue, quote unquote, illegal aliens. Illegal aliens who are citizens of that country. He's home. A lot of them are from El Salvador. They are now home. The leftists who are trying to get them back, it's just amazing to me that they're doing that. And you know what? Keep doing it. I wholeheartedly endorse their efforts. Keep doing it. There was another bust that took place on the other side of the country in Colorado Springs. And a an underground nightclub was busted by multiple agencies. DEA, it was a DEA operation, but ICE. I even saw, I think, a U.S. Postal Police jacket in one of the videos. U.S. Marshals again, just a multi-agency effort to bust this nightclub. And this was an underground nightclub in Colorado Springs. And Colorado Springs is not a sanctuary city. Denver is a sanctuary city in Colorado, but Colorado Springs is not. And the DEA arrested 114 illegal immigrants at this underground club. This club was frequented by Tren de Aragua, MS-13, cartels, and there are reports that Hell's Angels have had meetings with MS-13 at this club. I don't know if any Hell's Angels were present when this bus went down, but 114 illegal aliens were arrested in this operation. And unfortunately, active duty service members were among those arrested in this operation, and they were providing security and possibly involved in some of the illegal activities going on in this club. That is unfortunate. But if they were involved, from what I've read, Army CID is involved in the investigation now. They have taken custody of those active duty service members. I hope that it turns out that they were not involved in any way, but from the reporting that is available right now, it kind of looks like they are, and that's too bad. But the real story is 114 more illegal aliens arrested and about to be deported. Kick rocks. Kick rocks. Get gone. All right. We got a little bit of time left, and I wanted to get to a few other things. The White House Correspondents' Dinner was this past weekend. Another masturbatory exercise where they celebrate themselves. Alex Thompson got some kind of award. I can't remember exactly what it is. I wasn't really paying too much attention because it's the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And yeah, there's that. But it's interesting to watch. And I'm going to play you his part of his speech here in a second, because there's more to it than just this. And if you only listen to this part of his speech, you would think, oh, well, they're finally getting it. No, they're not. Check this out. All right, here we go.
President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him is a reminder that every White House, regardless of party, is capable of deception. But being truth tellers also means telling the truth about ourselves. We, myself included, missed a lot of this story.
No, no, no. I'm not letting you get away with that. You didn't miss it. You were actively involved in covering it up. And Alex Thompson, he is he has written a book along with Jake Tapper about this cover up. And what's wild about that, and I'm not terribly familiar with Alex Thompson, but he works for Axios, which was one of the American Pravda outlets that was actively involved in the cover up. And this is Jake Tapper, the guy who wrote that book, who wrote the book with Thompson. And he's been touting this book, talking about how this was such a massive cover up. Sorry about that. Here we go. He was touting this massive cover up. What happened there? But here he is actively involved in the cover up.
When they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You are
to watch somebody on stage search for
that's so amazing.
questions
It's so amazing to me
and,
that
and try and figure out an answer.
a cognitive
But when
decline.
you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you
stuttering,
were mocking his
I had
stutter.
no idea, Joe
Yeah,
Biden.
I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no
Jake.
standing to diagnose
Wow.
somebody's cognitive decline. I would think
I'm not
that
diagnosing,
somebody in
I'm
the Trump
saying that
family would be
he
more
said Joe
sensitive
Biden of
to people
today
who do not have
is
medical
not the Joe
licenses,
Biden of 5
diagnosing
years ago,
politicians
of 10
from
years ago.
afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you, your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any
I'm
standing to
not
say.
diagnosing him. What I'm saying,
You
Jake,
just talked
is
about
that
a
we
cognitive
can clearly
decline.
see that Joe Biden
I have
is
one last
struggling
question for you, Laura. You can't.
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely
you,
feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
So there we have Jake Tapper carrying the water for the Biden administration, covering up an obvious cognitive decline that we all saw. We all saw it from the beginning, even before the election. During the campaign, we could see it. He was falling asleep during appearances with his wife. He couldn't string two sentences together back then. And we saw how precipitously he fell off during those 4 years. And so we have that. And I was gonna play like all the different, the montage of all his gaps and his obvious decline. I'm not gonna bother. We all know it. We all saw it. It was plain as day. But I actually do want to play. How much time we got? I actually do want to play another. Never mind. I don't have it. I thought I did. But there's another clip of Jake Tapper talking about the book that he wrote with Alex Thompson, and it's just remarkable how they think we're going to forget. They think we don't know, when we all saw it for 4 years. The only people who, quote unquote, missed it, like Alex Thompson said, is the American Pravda, who were actively complicit in covering it up. It's amazing. it's amazing that they think we're that stupid. They really think we're that stupid. Yeah, it's really amazing. All right, one last thing before we go. They're trying to impeach him again. They're trying to impeach him again. And Chuck Schumer, like somebody else, another representative, has actually filed articles of impeachment, which makes the second time that it's happened in the last few months. But here is Chuck Schumer basically saying that they're not ruling it out. And this was before those articles of impeachment were introduced. But I want to play this anyway because it just shows you where their minds are, to the extent that they have a mind. And I think that whatever impeachments they come up with, I think are going to, I think it's going to go the same way it went last time, and probably even worse for them.
From Georgia, Senator Jon Ossoff told voters at a town hall that he strongly agrees that President Trump should be impeached. Do you agree with him? Would that be a priority if Democrats were to take back Congress?
Well, look, right now, President Trump is violating rule of law in every way. And we're fighting him every single day in every way. And our goal is to show the American people over and over again, whether it's the economy, whether it's tariffs, whether it's Russia and overseas, and whether it's rule of law, how bad he is. And, it's 2 years is too far away to predict. Our job is day to day to day to show who Trump is, what he is doing, and it's having an effect, as
But
your
you're not
poll
ruling
showed.
out.
The American people are realizing.
You're not saying no.
Look, it's too far away to even judge.
Your colleague from
Too far away to even judge, and yet now we have new articles of impeachment being filed against them. So bring it. As far as I'm concerned, they got nothing. They got absolutely nothing. And this is assuming that they not assuming, but this is if they get the majority, which they're not. It's not going to happen. As long as they keep trying to bring back illegal aliens from El Salvador and other places, and fighting their deportations. As long as they keep doing that, they have no chance to take the majority in the midterms. None. Absolutely none. Which is why I say go for it. Keep going. Because it's just, yeah. Keep going. Do what you do and keep doing it. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you this time. I will try to do better on the next one. Please remember to hit the like button, subscribe, share these episodes, share these videos, share the channel so we can continue to grow and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and the message of hope and of liberty that he promised us to as many people as we can, because we want to preserve what we have for future generations. Also, if you like the shirt that I'm wearing, New Year, same God, head over to missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all this design and all the other cool designs that we have there that have a message of faith and patriotism. missionreadymen.com, Shop 7 Armors. And as always, folks, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.